If you have goals you're trying to achieve, you want to build a better mindset, or you just simply want to elevate, then stand by. This is Cultivation.
Welcome to Cultivation, Growth Talks from a Veteran. I'm your host, Tony Tone. Thank you in advance for your time. In this podcast, I'm not a life guru. I'm just not afraid to share my life experience. And my experience, it can be applied whether you're military or you're civilian. Thank you for all your support. Please remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And check me out on your favorite podcast directories. And don't forget to add me on Twitter at Tone_IM. I have the links in my description, so it's easy for you to find my information. Thank you so much. Salute to all y'all. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Before I start the show, see this cool hat I bought the other day. It's RED. Remember everyone deployed. Reach out to all your loved ones in the military. Reach out to your friends in the military. Send them a message or send them a care package. Let them know that you care and you appreciate them, you love them and whatnot. It'll help them throughout their deployments and stuff. And I'll tell you, being on deployment is not easy. It's not easy at all. So please, salute to all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. I'm happy to serve with you. Moving on. Episode 17. Live your dreams. From my perspective, of course. This episode is going to be a part of a series, right? I call it the Big Picture series. Now, like it or not, I'm a Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy. Yes, me. When I first joined the military, I had dreams to build skills, build experience, build a good resume, because I want to be reliable. And I can say I'm actually living my dreams. And I want to encourage you to live your dream. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. Helping you live your dreams. One thing I never really seen too much in the military is coaching people to go get their dreams. And it's like everybody, at least in my branch, their dream was to make chief. And if you're an officer, your goal was to make your next milestone. Sometimes I feel like it was at the expense of people. And I could be wrong, but I'm not. It is. In my opinion, it's our job to motivate and develop our military people. You know, give them something to dream about. That way they're not going out in town, acting a damn fool, messing everything up, messing up the communities up and stuff like that. But we're also public servants, right? So it's our job to also build up our communities, make for a safe place for your kids, my kids, their kids, our kids, and everybody else around, right? So since I've been in, I've seen people who weren't really cut out for the military. I've seen them get kicked out because they couldn't really do what we do, though. I think we could have did a better job in coaching them to do whatever it is that they was good at, right? I feel like we could have coached them to live their dreams. And let's be honest, right? The military is not for everybody. Not everybody want to be in the military, and that's cool. Sometimes the military is not for people in the military. You ever heard of Seaman Timmy? I knew him. And nowadays, military members, they're not really inspiring, at least in my branch. I mean, you have the tools and fuels, but for the most part, they really just concerned about retirement. They concerned about making rank, or sometimes they just want to stay out of stuff altogether. They really like, my name Bennett, and I ain't in it. But let me get off my soapbox, Now, first and foremost, before we continue, I want to tell you that you have permission to dream. You have permission to walk in your dreams if you're not doing that already. And if anybody asks you, you can tell them Chief told you. They'll be all right. So, growing up in Brooklyn, there were two types of dreams. You had the rap dreams, and then you had the hoop dreams. Those are solid dreams, real solid dreams, right? Nothing wrong with that. But in the dark places of some of our minds, we've abandoned dreams and thoughts of wanting to be a mechanical engineer. I want to be an architect. I want to design and build cars. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to compose a symphony one day. I want to be a podcaster. I want to be an author. What happened to all those dreams? Well, a lot of them died. They died. So, I want to talk about a few external factors, some internal factors, and also some resources that might help you if you want to take those steps towards living your dreams. Because that's what we do. We have to encourage people to live their dreams. So, our external factors. We know these things to be everything and everyone outside of our control, right? Now, people, they say and they do whatever sometimes to throw you off of stuff that you want. I mean, they can't really see your vision, right? They can't really see your vision. And that's not for them. It's for you. And that's how people are, man. People nowadays do not encourage people. Think of the last time you got encouraged. In the last week. Not too many, I'm sure. Right? People who don't do ordinary things, they always have the most stuff to say about people that do extraordinary things. And it's crazy because you can't really control what they say. You can't control what they do. You can't control how they think. But let me tell you a secret, though. They don't validate nothing. They can't even validate themselves. So just be mindful that the biggest external factor that you're going to face when you're trying to get your dreams are people. It's people. Now, circumstances, society, your situations, etc., that's a huge factor when it comes to following your dreams, right? You have the job that just won't let you go. And you need money. You're not just going to just leave, right? Sometimes your boss, they don't even talk about that. They don't even have that conversation with you, a conversation about your dreams, right? And I can tell you in my organization, right? It's not normal to talk about your dreams because we got the mission at hand, right? We focus on too many stuff right in front of us. So that part of our lives is usually passed on, right? It's passed over all the time, right? You might live in an environment where your dreams, it seems like they can't exist. But your dream have no physical point of origin. So your dreams, they start right up here in your mind. And there's no environment that can make that cease to exist. But that's up to you to believe that. You got to believe that. Now, speaking of our environments, not having the right tools in our environments, that can affect your ability to live your dreams, right? Now think about it. Tools, they fix things, right? So in our case, we're fixing the ability to live our lives. To get the tools, you have to learn what tools they might be. How do you learn about those tools? Through research, right? So you research books, YouTube, different websites, Reddit, that's a good resource right there. And you talk to people. It's a lot of people that have lived the dream that you want to live. There's nothing new under the sun. Right? So be simple. Ask simple questions. Get simple answers. And after learning about those tools, you learn how to use those tools, right? After learning about those tools, you ask how to use those tools, right? Ask for it to be dumbed down, right? Humble yourself, get it dumbed down, and go and live your dreams. Now, our internal factors. One of our biggest internal factors is always us. It's me, it's you. Right? We can all take from what the Army says. The Army says, be all that you can be, right? Be all you can be in the Army. But we always focus on what we can't be. And that's crazy. Me being in the Navy as long as I've been in, right? I recall not really taking chances to better myself because it wasn't popular. I just felt like everybody else was better. I really tricked myself out of walking into my dreams, to be honest. And my fears got the best of me, man. My fears got the best of me. I remember I used to be afraid to talk to people. I mean, I used to be afraid to talk in front of people, right? I used to be afraid to talk in front of people. I didn't want to look crazy in front of people, especially Navy folk, right? As Navy folk, they done seen everything, they done did everything, they know every damn thing, right? It's crazy. So I didn't want to look crazy in front of them. So I embraced that fear, and it was a safe place for me. But then one day I thought about it. I said, all right, I can either be safe or I can take steps towards my dreams. And then I chose the latter, and I got real good, man. And now look at me. So now I don't really have a problem talking in front of people. So you got to get your message out if you want them to hear that, right? Yeah, of course, right? So here's some help for your internal situations. We're going to talk about increasing the chances of living your dreams. So whatever it is that you want to dream, you get it in your mind, you get it in your heart to start. And then you believe in you. That's your job. Now, so with dreams, right? It's a destination. That's all it really is. It's a destination. And it's made up of steps, mileage, feet, yard, do's, redos, repetition, all that. And there's a lot of websites online. There's a lot of sites online that tell you like it takes a specific amount of steps to achieve your dreams and stuff like that. Depending on what website you go to, it usually varies how many steps you take and all this good stuff. Respectfully, I don't agree with that at all. Not at all. I think it takes however long you want to walk in your dreams, though. That's what I think. I think it takes however long you want to walk in your dream. Example, I always wanted to build a good skill set, experience, build a good resume. Always wanted to be useful, be reliable. Now, I'm living in my dream right now at this present time. If I look at those steps that I took, right? Shoes ran down, feet hurting, and I stopped. I'm not living my dream anymore, right? So to me, it's no set amount of steps. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those sites up there, those websites, they have a lot of good information up there for planning and things like that. But you just have to be careful, man. Speaking of those resources, right? I have some resources, and I'm going to put them in my description. This is a powerful speaker that I listen to. His name is Jimrohn. Now, he can motivate people like, I mean, it's crazy, man. Now, I can motivate people, but he can motivate people. You know what I mean? If you listen to him speak once or twice, I'm telling you, you'll start walking in your dreams ASAP. Another resource that I really like is this YouTube page called Evancarmichael, right? He takes a lot of different flavors of motivational speakers and top celebrities. They dropping gems and stuff like that, and he puts it together in a video in a real dope way, man, real informative way. It's real insightful stuff, life-changing stuff. He also has a lot of videos that specifically talk about dreams, living your dreams and stuff like that. Definitely worth checking out, definitely worth mentioning. Life-changing stuff right there, I'm telling you, man. My last resource I want to talk about is one of my favorite books. Anybody that know me, I always talk about this book. It's a book called Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. I put it in my last video. Now, put some real thought and some real time into reading this book right here, man. This book, it'll train your mind, man, and it'll keep you locked in. Because your mindset, it'll change from being fixed on failures, obstacles, and what you can't do to successes, opportunities, and what you can do. So that's a life-changing book, Mindset. Amazing book right there. So, with all the external factors that we talked about, all the internal factors we talked about, and all the resources we talked about, I encourage you to simmer on those things a bit, right? After you simmer on them, apply it to your life. Go and live your dreams. Go and live your dreams. And if anybody got something to say about that, just tell them Chief told you. Chief told you to do it, right? They'll be all right. And that's all I have for this episode. Go out and live your dreams. Send me a comment and tell me what you like. Tell me what your dream is. I'd really like to know. I think that's interesting to see what people are interested in nowadays. I don't really have a challenge for this episode, but I do have a question from one of my supporters. He says, how do I deal with coworkers in a job I don't like at all? My best advice on this is you have to identify why you don't like your coworkers in your workplace. Then you start working on a solution for that. Maybe you need a change of scenery. You could try working at a different work center, a different department, office, a different floor. Maybe it's you. There's nothing wrong with looking at the man in the mirror. There's nothing wrong with looking at the man in the mirror at all. I remember back in 2019 when I was on my ship, I hated coming to work. I couldn't stand people there. I couldn't stand the job at all. And I put a request to transfer. I put it in and it got disapproved. Now I'm tight. I'm walking around, I'm hating everything. But when I finally started to work on myself, next thing you know, I end up winning Senior Sailor of the Quarter, then Senior Sailor of the Year for my ship, then Senior Sailor of the Year for my strike group, and then I became a Senior Sailor of the Year strike group, Senior Sailor of the Year finalist for the region where I was at. And I'm talking a finalist, top 15 in the 30,000, right? And so when I changed, I realized that my coworkers, they weren't really a big issue anymore. In the place where I work, it wasn't really a big deal anymore. All those issues disappeared. So maybe you might need to work on yourself. If anybody has any feedback on that, any insight on that question, any insight on my answers, feel free to send it to me, man. And tune into the next episode. This is the Big Picture series. Next week, we'll be talking about the ideas of the life that you want to live. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Salute to you all. Remember, everyone deployed. Reach out to your loved ones. Reach out for your friends in the military. Send them a care package. Send them a message. Let them know you appreciate their service. Let them know you appreciate them. And I'm telling you, it'll make their day. Because like I said, deployments are hard, man. Deployments are tight, man. It's real hard out there. But this is Cultivation. Download this episode and more episodes on your favorite podcast directories. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. And also add me on Twitter at tone_IM. And feel free to reach out whenever you need to get some advice, free advice, whenever you need it. I will reach back to you. Now, no further entries. This page, Tony Tone.